Yes, buongiorno, bonjour. How is everyone doing today? Grab your coffee with Carrie today at 10 a.m. I am live on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. I think I'm live on LinkedIn. We'll figure that out later. So today, let's go see. I'm offline. I'm offline on my iPad. Today, I want to talk to you about your buyer needs a house. And before we do that, you know the drill. For those of you that are on Instagram, thanks for joining. Share this with a friend. Let's get some people in the room. And then also tell me where you are watching from. For those of you that are like, Carrie, you weren't live at 9 a.m. And then I posted 9:30, but my actual post said 10 a.m. I'm so glad I actually said 10 a.m. because, I got home at like 1 a.m. last night coming from Rochester, Minnesota. I love all of my friends in Rochester. But I'm telling you, a great group. I don't even know how many agents were there. I was trying to count it out like 5, 10, 15, 20, 20. Over 200. In my head, 1,000, but I'm sure there weren't that many people in the room. But in my head, over 2,000, but I'm sure there were like 200. But why won't my iPad connect? I'm just gonna try this for a second because I need my notes. My notes are on my computer. Grab your coffee. Where are we watching from? Gurnee. Okay, I didn't pass Gurnee last night, but I did come through Wisconsin, Rockford. Easy drive. But we tested Mark's Tesla, and nope, we won't do that again. We will not do that again. So again, thanks for joining. Thanks for joining me for another episode of Coffee with Carrie. As I try to get my other notes on my screen. Oh, there it is. There it is. My buyer needs a house. Do any of you, are you challenged with finding houses for buyers? Are you still in multiple offers? I was looking at the data in our area. Like, tell me in the feed. So, good morning. Hit that little paper airplane. Let's invite a few people into the room. Here I am blowing up everybody's feed. I'm sure everyone wants to watch me this morning. Maybe. Um, so yeah. So I am over here on Instagram. If you can't connect on Instagram, I am Instagram.com/Carrie J.O. Little. You can even join on a computer. But I figured if I could get some of you here over on my other social media sites, hey, join me. Hey, New Jersey. Hi, Heather. How's it going? I'm coming to DC on Monday. I'm coming for, as a volunteer, but yeah, multiple offers, taxes too high. I feel you. Like let me not hit that. I feel your pain. I feel your pain on that one. I feel your pain on that one. So, as much as I want to keep all of you here today, I'm just going to make my font size bigger on my other computer screen so it does it here. Inventory is low. We're consistently searching for homes and we can't find houses. I was even talking to a real estate agent in my office and, showing every property in the neighborhood, multiple offers, and we're at the point where my buyer needs a house. I recently was looking at data and I actually pulled the data that I talked about when I was in Rochester. And then we were talking about their data because most of you have InfoSparks. If you have InfoSparks, you really need to learn how to use it. And let's see, maybe I can share my screen on. Let's do this. Maybe I can share my screen over on YouTube. So here's the crazy thing about real estate right now. Some of you really need to go take that InfoSparks class, even if you're like, well, Carrie, I just don't get the numbers. Look, ChatGPT it. Let ChatGPT explain it to you. The reason why I'm saying this is because some of you don't realize there is low inventory, but there are the same amount of homes we're selling that sold like in 2008 sold in 2023. Let me say that again, and I'm talking Northern Illinois, but let me say that again for some of you that are not getting this. Yes, finding buyers' houses is tough, and many sellers who don't have to sell are staying Why am I in denial over here? Because they aren't motivated to find some place to go. And by the way, this is a thing. Like we it's almost like I feel like we're back in 2021 and 2022, even though interest rates are up. And I say up. I can't even say high because my interest rate back in 1997 was actually 7%. So let me just kind of talk to you about some of the things I think you need to see. So I want that one. So if you happen to be on YouTube, if you happen to be on Facebook, you're going to see this. So back in like 2008, oh, you're probably on Instagram. Like, well, what's the problem, Carrie? Share your screen. So I'm going to do just that. I'm going to share my screen. So back in 2008, and this is Northern Illinois, all of you need to go back to your multiple listing services and look at data. So back in 2008, median sales prices were around 235. This is all residential, by the way. And then in 2012, see, we got neighbors walking. Back in 2012, we were as low as 151. And then in 2023, median sales prices 300,000. Now, of course, you're going to do the data for your own areas. When I look at this, I'm like, okay, now, it's really a great time to sell your home. And you're like, Carrie, that's what I've been trying to tell these people. It is really a great time to sell a home. But, and new listings. Now, this is going to take some of you to let's just work with me here. So new listings in 2008 was close to 293. And then new listings in 2023. So 2008, 293, 2023, close to 150 new listings. Now, this is new listings at the, at the end of a given period. And new listings in our market only stay that way for 5 days. And after the 5 days, they could be under contract. They could just be a standard active listing. Then housing inventory, we had close to 98,000. And then in 2023, 16,000. So this means at the end of 2023, active properties, 16,250. At the end of 2008, 98,000. Like this is like hardly any inventory. And then new real estate agents keep coming into the market. And I am trying to tell them the hustle is real. You got to get up, get dressed, and get out the door. Because if we had this many properties and now we had this many at the end of the year, this is why many of you are struggling with my buyer needs a house. Now, if new listings were here in 2023, and then we look at closed sales. Now, this is where I need all of you to see the same number of properties were closing in 2008 as in 2023 as 2008. Like for real, we're still closing deals. But now remember, for those of you that are joining, I am in Northern Illinois. So the key is all of you need to go research your own areas. And if you haven't taken the InfoSparks or the Market Stats class for your area, or you haven't taken any statistical classes, you need to go take classes. The reason why I want you to see this is because homes are still closing. We're still selling the same amount of homes as 2008. But we have more real estate agents in the marketplace. And if in 2008, we had like close to 300,000 properties and now 140 new listings, and at the end of the period, we hardly had any properties on the market. What agents need to realize is that the competition is real and you have to do something different to find a property for your buyer. We had more inventory. So the truth is buyers had a lot to shop for. Like buyers could take their time back in 2008. Now, when you look at this data and you have a buyer that's like, I'm thinking about it. No, you can't think about it. You cannot think about it because inventory back in 2008, you could, it was like, going to TJ Maxx and spending all day there. Like you had a lot to pick from. The struggle is real. So when we talk about my buyer needs a house, you might have to rethink how you are farming for properties. Why? Because now you need to go find the deal. So are you ready to do this? You got your notebooks? Got your notebooks over here on YouTube? All right. You're like, yep, Carrie, I'm ready. Let's do this. Or you get to come back and watch the replay or share the replay with a friend. And if you haven't already done that, go share the replay with a friend. So so we talked about the market. Let's talk about what you need to do. Now, all of you understand when you talk to your buyers, this is just like a standard buyer consultation. You've already done this for your buyers. You've already asked them. You already know where your buyer wants to live, right? So number one, where does your buyer want to live? Where does your buyer want to live? It could be a certain city. It could be the same it could be a subdivision. It could be multiple cities. Where does your buyer want to be? Now, for this strategy, you are going to want to tell your buyer to be very specific. Or, hold on, let me I'm giving myself a new idea as I think. Okay, so write down, where does your buyer want to be? You need to know that. What is your buyer's price point? What is your buyer's price point? You need to know both, because when you use this strategy, you're going to have to make sure you're not looking for properties that once you do a CMA, that property is going to outprice their price point or what they're approved for. Come back to that. You know what they want. What is their search criteria? 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms in Matteson, Illinois, and they really want to be around 275. Now, I made that up, but I think you get it. Now you need to go find the house. You know all of this. Now you need to go find the house. You ready? So number one, and for those of you that are joining me either on on something other than Instagram, feel free. You can type those in the chat, and I think I'll see the chat. And if you are on Instagram, use the Q&A, and I will answer your questions at the end. I'm going to highly recommend, and I haven't given you the products, but I'm going to highly recommend that you start with the expires and cancels that never sold during the downturn of the market. Write that down. Start with the cancels and expires that never sold during the downturn of the market. You got that? Anyone want to take notes and type that in the feed? So so I want you to do that first. Start with the expires and cancels that did not sell. So in my case, I'd probably be looking, if I had the ability, I'd probably go into Realist. I'm going with Realist, and I really think this is the option. So if you're taking notes, because I don't have this, and somebody might, I'll actually take notes. So I would say number one, or A, because I'm in another spot, look for properties in Realist for expires. And the reason why, and if you don't have Realist, that's okay. You might be able to do this in your MLS, but you'd have to really go double check. So I like Realist probably between 2009 and maybe 2015. Why do I want this? Because the homeowner may have tried to sell and their properties were valued lower than they wanted, so they didn't sell. They were a part of the group of properties, of that 300,000 properties that were on the market, and they didn't sell. Then I want you to, and then once you've, let me do this. And then in Realist, Remine, or RPR, look for people that purchased at the bottom of the market. So in Realist, RPR, or Remine, look for properties that sold at the bottom of the market. And to give you an example, especially if you're in Illinois, if you're not in Illinois, go to your MLS. But in Illinois, let's see if I could go look at it. I'm going quick. So again, number one, I want all of you to start with the cancels and expireds that sold during the downturn of the market. I'm working with Realist. And as I'm working, and if I'm looking, and then if I'm going to use Remine, Realist, or RPR, I'm looking for properties that sold at the bottom of the market. Now, as I share this with you, I need you to not go over the value of the property, of what they want to purchase at. So, for example, if you have a buyer that's only approved or fully underwritten at $300,000, you don't want to necessarily look for properties that might today sell for $450,000. Now, they might if you have someone that never made updates, because you could, in addition to this, my number three under, farming could be, I might need to download after this, could be that you look for properties that are paid off. And I can look for properties that are paid off in Remine. So I might look for no mortgage in Remine. I can go to RPR Realist or Remine and look for properties that were purchased 30 years ago. Maybe they don't have a mortgage. You could also do that. So I'm in Northern Illinois. I'm looking at my information. Again, I'm still trying to figure out how to get InfoSparks in Central Florida, but I think Southern Florida, you get it. And because I said the word Matteson, I'm going to go look at Matteson, Illinois, and I'm going to look at the bottom of the market, and let's see what we get. So the bottom of the market is, I'm going to go with, let's say, between 2011 and 2017. Now, the true bottom was 2012, but I could probably use a pretty big range. So if I were looking for cancels and expireds, maybe that would be what I would do. If I'm looking for people that purchased and actually closed, I might go with 2011 through 2017, because in Matteson, Illinois, I can easily see that properties were selling around maybe 95,000 to 120,000, and now in Matteson, we're selling for, median sales price. Oh, let me do detached. Let's get rid of those. So 235. Oh, we went down. Matteson is coming down in price. Oh, I got lots of questions. So again, bottom might be 2012 through about 2016. So I can look for those properties. And then if I wanted to go back in time, I could go look for people that may have purchased a home and they just have not moved, 20, 30 years ago. We often think, well, Carrie, what about turnover rate? No, you are looking for people that have the ability to sell and they have equity, and they may be willing to sell their property to your buyer. Okay. So the other thing, and that's just some strategy. Now, the reason why I want you to be specific on what you're looking for, if I am in Remine, for example, if I'm in Remine or even Realist, because Realist, for those of you that have not taken the class, they've added predictive analytics. I'm going to look for maybe people that have a high sell score. But in addition to high sell score, I might be looking for people that have estimated equity of over $100,000, because I know you can sell. So I'm looking for people that aren't so close to their payoff that they have room to negotiate. So I'm going to start mailing. Now, am I mailing to the entire city? If my client was looking for 3 bedrooms, 2.5, or just 2 bathrooms, I am not mailing to the entire city of Matteson. I am mailing to specific properties based on my client's criteria. So if my buyer said, I want a 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom, 2-story home with an attached garage, I am probably going to be that specific. And Realist is probably going to be the best if you have it. Then, and I'm going to mail a letter. So let me give you the strategy. Number 1, mail to the area your client wants to live in based on that. So it is going to be based on their needs. So I'm mailing based on my client's needs and their price point. Needs is all of that. Then I'm going to create a letter. Now you can create this letter in ChatGPT if you want. I'm going to keep it to the point. I am literally not going to write 3 paragraphs because nobody's going to read it. When I create my letter, I will probably make it nicer. Like, let's say, for example, in Canva, I'm going to create it really nice. I might even do a mail merge. If you're in the membership, I did a mail merge, and I think it is under 10-minute mastery on how to do a mail merge in with letters. So a mail merge in Canva. So again, I'm going to, number 1, mail to the area where my client wants to live based on their needs. So again, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 2-story, attached garage. And then I'm looking for properties based on maybe estimated home equity, how long they've been in the home, and maybe even no mortgage, because I have the ability to convert. Then in my letter, I'm going to say in my letter, even if ChatGPT writes it, I'm going to say, write a letter to a potential home seller because my buyer is looking for a house in their area and my buyer might want their home. If you are thinking of selling, call me and let's avoid so many people walking through your house in open houses. Let's get your home sold before it hits the market. Because some people are thinking of selling and more properties typically come on the market, after the Super Bowl. And man, I forgot to get my postcards. I got my postcards came in for buyers. So that, I mean, and again, here's the other thing you'll get out of this. What if, and I need you to know this, seller calls you, says, hey, Carrie, I'm in Matson. I got your letter and we were about to call our agent and we haven't done anything yet, but we are thinking of selling. Okay, great. Let me tell you how I work. This is where once they tell you, now they're going to tell you, you have to tell them how you work. I have a buyer. They are fully underwritten. They may want to buy your home. Would you be willing to pay my compensation at whatever the percent is or the flat fee if my buyer decides to buy? Or you can say, how I want to negotiate is my buyer's going to write the offer. My buyer's going to ask for a closing cost credit, and we're going to put that towards my compensation. How does that work for you? Especially if they push back with compensation and all of the lawsuits. You have the ability to come up with strategy. Fine, great. I'll send you the, I will send you, this is, you have your, I know there's a document with all of our associations that will allow you to get paid. And it could be an off-market property. It could be for sale by owner. It could be that and how you're going to get paid. You will probably want to have an exclusive agency agreement with your buyer. And if you are going to do this and mail for your buyer, you need to have an exclusive agency agreement. You must. So I'm going to write down, explain how you work. I've been making my Coffee with Carrie lives, what I talk about, blog post on smartgirlmedia.com. If you didn't know. Now that you've done this and you're like, you came up with a letter, here's my next strategy for those of you that are like, Carrie, I can't even afford to mail, but I can come up with $50, right? You can come up with $50. So what might you do? My recommendation would be is you're going to place a Facebook ad and or an Instagram ad over the area. And so now this is where you might do a video and say, hey, I am Carrie Little with Caremark Realty Group, and I have a buyer looking in your area. If you are thinking of selling, please reach out to me via direct message or go to the link in my bio, fill out the form, and let's have a conversation. My buyer is looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-story home in your area. And you can spend $5 a day for like a week. 7 times 5 is 30. Right? Is it 35? Let's see. Help me out. Give me together. So you can choose to do a direct mail piece with a letter, a stamp, stuff envelopes, and mail. You could choose to send a postcard. I actually like the letter because I know it will get into the property. But I also am thinking that if you are someone that is willing to place a Facebook ad over the area, that might be even a better reach. You might even start doing YouTube shorts or videos and then boost them. So there's so many ways where you can try to get traction in those areas. Here's what we know. Don't do this if you don't have a buyer. Don't, do anything fraudulent saying, hey, I have a buyer, call me. Because you can convert these people to list if your buyer doesn't want the house. If you are only looking for listings, you can place an ad over the area and look for potential buyers. Oh, yeah, I like that. And if you do have an area, an agent that you actually work with, definitely have your agent reach out to me and you can hire your agent and then I can work with your agent on compensation. There's so many ways you can leverage that. I like that, D. Shout out to D. So there's so many ways you can leverage this to actually get a property for your buyer. Now, is this going to be as easy as a property coming on the market for sale? You might have to work a little bit harder. Is this could you also, after I talked about ads, could you walk the neighborhood and do doorknob bags and say my buyer wants a house? That might be even more cost effective because you can buy doorknob bags, those plastic doorknob bags for $1,000. I'm sorry. You can for about $50 for 1,000 doorknob bags with uline.com. You can even buy them on Amazon. If you're in Wisconsin, Minnesota or Illinois, Uline is like right across the border. I'm sure they have multiple locations, but you could, again, Amazon's across the street. So you can get the bags pretty much the next day, and then you could put your flyers in and walk the entire neighborhood. Because if you have a townhouse subdivision, a condo subdivision, you could literally probably walk the entire neighborhood, and somebody might be thinking of selling. So there's many ways. So you could door knock, you could walk with doorknob bags, right? I'm writing this down for my notes later. So you could walk with doorknob bags. You could cold call if you got phone numbers, or you could door knock. I mean, like, is this easy? Yes. Is it work? Absolutely. So let me go over my recommendations again, and then we will do some Q&A. So number one, if you're going to do this to generate leads for your buyers, right? How do you find off-market properties for your buyer, right? Your buyer needs a house. You need to just find it. First thing you need to know is all of the discovery you did when you started working with your buyer and you started setting up searches. Where does your buyer want to live? What is your buyer's price point? What did your client want in the home? 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 2-car garage, attached, 2 stories. Now you need to go find the house. And I'm saying you could use Realist, Remine, RPR, or your tax records to find the house. The next thing I'm recommending is consider working with cancels and expireds, because what do we know about cancels and expires? Those people want to sell those homes. I would mail to the area where your client wants to live. If I was going after the properties that were canceled and expired, I'm not going to say, hey, let me go back to the cancels and the expireds. I'm looking for people that tried to sell at the bottom of the market, but I'm also going to look maybe in my multiple listing service for the last few days, because you might have a seller that that just can't afford to pay a lot, and your buyer is willing to pay the compensation. So mail to the area where your client wants to live based on their needs. So you can use Realist, Remine, RPR, again, your tax records, or the MLS. You can go buy leads if you want. You're already paying for them. And then I am going to be very specific. If I were working in, say, Realist, Remine, or RPR, I would probably, here, let's do this for my friends. I'll show my screen for those of you that are on Instagram in a second. So I would literally, if I was looking in Matteson, Illinois, and then I would, and by the way, for those of you on Instagram, you can go back and watch the YouTube channel for my previous live, and you'll see what I'm doing. So I'm in Matteson. I'm looking for 3 bedrooms in Matteson for my client. They want, let's say, at least 2 bathrooms. They'd be willing to do 3. And then they wanted 2 stories. So a 2-story home. And then I'm going to look for properties that don't have a mortgage. 124. Now, I might want to also add estimated property value but up to, if they're approved for 300,000, I'm going to put in 300,000. So property values up to 300,000. And so instead of 124, I have 108. So let me share this with all of you over on Instagram. So I am in, this is Remine. So I put in Matteson. I believe this is Matteson, Illinois. Yes. I then have off-market properties, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms or more. I have more than 2 floors. And I could even change this to be very specific, just 2 stories. Still the same, and we're in Matteson, and then has no mortgage. I also put in the estimated property value, and then I changed the estimated property value to up to 300,000. My buyer is approved up to 300,000. So I am looking for there's my mortgage, no mortgage. I am now looking for properties. There's 108. I can select all, create a cart, put the properties in the cart. Let me help all of you. I can put properties in the cart. I do not have a client looking here, but let's just go with it. I'm just going to give it a name because I'm going to delete it anyway. So Madison or Matson, and then I go to my carts. And now that I'm in my cart, I have my list. I can choose to have written a letter in ChatGPT if I want, or I can just select all and send mailers through Remind. Boom. Or I can come down here under marketing and I can choose to go after, you could just say listing leads, because even though I'm not looking for a listing, I'm looking for a house for my buyer. You could use their social media platform in Remind if you did not know. Welcome back. It's been a while, Carrie. Where you been? So I can put in Matson and I can build my ad. Some of you didn't even know that was there, did you? Did you know? Tell me, did you know? Okay, so again, you can also, so I said you could send out a mailer, and then when someone does call, you explain how you work. You could place an ad on social media. You could walk the neighborhood with doorknob bags. You could cold call if you want. You could do you could door knock, and then again, realist Remind or RPR. Everyone has RPR. I see some of you are having an aha moment. Did not know. So yeah, tell me, do you have any questions? I see your hey everyone over on on my other channels. How you doing? So if you have questions, throw them in the Q&A over on Instagram. Does anyone have questions on Facebook, YouTube? I don't even know if I'm on LinkedIn. Let's go see. Did I make it to LinkedIn? I'm moving my eyes as if this is going to change things. Yeah, I am. So do you have any questions? Let me know. Do you have any questions? Any questions over here on Instagram? Really? No? We're good? I need someone to do this. If you don't have a budget, go create a short video saying what you need, shake it up a little bit, you loosen it up. You don't have to be stiff, and just say, "Hey everyone, I am with just say, I start like this. My buyer needs a house. If you live in Matson, Illinois, and you have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, and you're thinking about putting your home on the market, my buyer is looking for a property under $300,000. If you know your values or you're not sure, call me, and my buyer might want to buy the home." And then you can say, "I just want to let you know, I am exclusively representing my buyer, but I can talk to you about how I can help you sell your home, and you can represent yourself." Like, go create a video and tell them to go to your direct messages. Tell them to go to the link in your bio. Tell them, listen, you could simply just call me 630 and then give them your number. Okay, so if you have questions, I'm heading over to the Q&A on Instagram. If you are on any of the other channels, I am. Let's see. I think. I'm looking for my chat. Oh, there it is. So when you say tell you more about the social media platforms over on Facebook, can you be all about using Remind? Oh, that's a whole nother class, but I'll give you some examples. So for those of you, whatever platform you're on, I don't get paid to tell you to go advertise using Remind. But if you are someone that is not tech savvy when it comes to placing ads on Facebook or Instagram or even Google, I am going to highly recommend that you take a few minutes today. Take a few minutes today and go to Remind. And when you are on Remind, this is what I'm going to do. when you're on Remind, I'm recommending. Of course, this is not doing what I want. Here it is. So I'm recommending this. You're on Remind, and I'm going to share this with all of you on the other platforms, and then we'll do some more Q&A. So if you're on Remind, so I'm sharing my screen. I am highly recommending that you take a moment when you're on Remind to go over to marketing and take a few minutes today and click on all of these and connect your social media accounts. You don't have to spend money to set this up. So that's your homework. Go do that. And then just browse, check things out, see if this is something you want to do. And then, yeah, what audience do you want to reach? Go through the process and see what the cost is and just test to see if it's something you want to build. That would be my recommendation. Okay. You guys are seeing my office here. You're like, Carrie, pick your stuff up. All right, so I'm going over to the Q&A on Instagram. If you type something in the feed and I missed it, please put it in the questions at the bottom. So what does your follow-up look like? You can get phone numbers from Remind, I believe. So, I mean, are you saying if I were to cold call? I don't cold call. But if I were to cold call, I would just call and leave a message and say, hi, this is Carrie with, but I would just say, hey, I'm just calling because I have a buyer and they need a house. I would lead with that. And then I would say, I actually have a buyer. I'm Carrie Little with Caremark Realty Group. I'm the designated managing broker. And if you are thinking about selling your home, I'd love to have a conversation. This is not a scam call. If you already have an agent that you know, feel free to have your agent reach out to me and let's have a conversation. If for those of you that are thinking, well, what if I send direct mail and no one follows up? You have to be consistent with your mailing. My first mailer might be a letter. My second mailer might be a postcard. My third mailer might be a postcard. Well, actually, let's go with this. Every one of those mailers might have a QR code to a video. That's probably what I would do. And then when someone reaches out, I would follow up. I would just simply follow up. You now know you have created an inbound lead and they're easier to convert. All right. Any other questions over on my other channels? If not, I definitely want you to, join me on YouTube. All right, let me go back. Let's see if there's another one. So the other question is follow up for the letters if you only have an address. There, I think I just said it. There you go. Yeah. We are thinking the same. So some of you are afraid to do video. People want to see you whether you believe it or not. People want to see you whether you believe it or not. So why not go create content that is going to get people to chat with you? When I first started creating video content, I wasn't comfortable. When I first started speaking in front of people, I would sweat. I would be nervous. Even yesterday when I spoke in Rochester, I was nervous when I got on stage. Nervous. I got great feedback. Doesn't mean there's a good thing about being nervous because then you're not so caught in your head that you don't pay attention. Like I was reading the room, I'm watching the room, I'm looking at people, is anyone falling asleep? I had maybe two. But I just think some of us just need a nap. But people were attentive, they were taking notes, they engaged, they were talking to me. Your goal when you create video content is to figure out how to make people engage. I am having a conversation with all of you as if you're sitting in front of me, but I don't let you talk, right? So think about what you want people to do. So if I'm creating content and I am trying to figure out how to get you to engage, if my buyer needs a house, I need to come on, be real, say, look, go create your video and say, my buyer needs a house in Matson, Illinois. I'm a real estate agent. We've been hunting for homes. We've been in multiple offer situations. My buyer is My buyer is fully underwritten. If you are thinking of selling, reach out to me. I mean, like, own it and put the passion in it. Let me give you the other version. Hi, my buyer needs a house. If you're thinking of selling, call me. I ain't calling you. Like, put the emotion into what you are trying to do. Again, we get on social media and we're like, hi, everyone. My buyer needs a home. And if you are thinking of selling, could you please call me because my buyer needs a home? I know I'm making it sound, fun, funny, sarcastic. I need you to relax and talk. Let me give you a tip. Put someone in front of you like this. So if I had Mark here and Mark says, Carrie, so where does your buyer need a house? Oh, well, and I'm looking at Mark, not the camera, but I'm videotaping. Oh, my buyer needs a house over in Madison. Well, what's the issue, Carrie? They're having a hard time. I'm not looking here. They're having a hard time. We've written multiple offers. When you have a conversation with someone, do you straighten up and perk up and try to be all cute and professional, or just, do we code switch? Or are you just human? People want your authentic you. Just have a conversation. That's what I need you to do. Deep breath, relax. So I'm going back to the chat, or to my Q&A. I can't see this. Thumbnails on your reels or just Fridays with coffee? Hey, what would you use thumbnails on your reels or just Fridays with Carrie? What do you mean, D? Hey, would you use thumbnails on your reels or just Fridays? Help me out. What do we mean? Whenever I do coffee with Carrie on Fridays, I always use here, I'll show you, because I'm not quite sure what you're asking, but come on, D, help me out. So on Fridays, whenever I do coffee with Carrie, I put a cover image on top of the reel. So, and I do this so you can find it. So even today, it's how to find a home. What did I say? How to find an off-market property. I'm going to show it to you for your buyer. So I do this. So do you mean, so how would you use thumbnails on your reels? On or not? So this is how, okay, I think I'm getting it. So I always use this because agents are looking for the content. So I would do this. So I will download this as a PNG and put on the cover. A few weeks ago, Instagram made a change and I couldn't add the cover. It was really weird. So I have one without. I recently had a photo shoot. So now when I do a reel, I am testing the image versus adding a cover with text. So I will actually, when I add this cover image, see if I can record to show you how I do it. And then maybe I'll make it a reel so you can see what I did. I think that I want you to almost test doing something like this, because I think when people that don't know you scroll, for example, if you were doing this for, oh, by the way, for those of you on over on the other channels, you're probably like, what in the world is she talking about? I'm going to go here. So I created a reel cover. And the reason I am recommending that you might want to add text to your to the top of to a reel cover is because if someone is coming to your page, they're going to want to know what to click on if they're just scrolling through, right? So if I were to go to Instagram to make relevant, I see that I think I'm catching, Angie, throw that in the chat so I don't miss it. I don't think I will. Like, I do this to test. So where I recently had photos, and then, this was last week, I could not move this image. So I'm hoping there's a fix. So when I create content and I add cover image, I create the cover image for my reel and I move it. So this little square is if people are scrolling through trying to find something. And I do this because you are more likely to click on generate buyer leads now with ChatGPT, because I'm telling you what it is. You're scrolling through, you're like, oh yeah, I want to know that. But when I and then here, I didn't tell you anything. I do this so my page looks cleaner, and I was probably in a hurry. I do photo shoots for this reason, so I can try to stick with my brand colors. So that's kind of like how I do it. So did that help? So the text may make sense, so they know what the video is about. Yes. And I could not last week, because this is where I need to do a whole video. Last week I couldn't even add this to my series. So I don't know what Instagram did, but I actually have a series in my feed, and I don't even know if it went away. I'll find out today. So good question. Okay. Oh, so yeah. So do you use the thumbnails just for Coffee with Carrie? Not always. Right now, probably, but not always. So right now, maybe not always. Okay, so let me go back. Hey, I'm close. And I'll turn this off. All right. So let me see if I have any more questions over on the other channel. Do any of you have questions here? I think I saw a question. Where do I take my photos? I took the photos at our condo downtown Chicago. You're more than welcome to rent my space if you want to go take photos. Let me know. Send me a DM. On Michigan Avenue. I call myself trying to decorate. Maybe I did okay. So, all right, everyone. For those of you that are, if you still have questions over on Instagram, type it in the Q&A. For those of you on YouTube, Facebook, or even LinkedIn, thank you for watching. Again, if there's something you want to learn, tell me in the feed. If you have questions and I missed them, type them in the feed. If you're watching the replay, invite a friend next time. And if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, go search at Carrie J. Little on YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have goals in 2024. I'm trying to increase my following on TikTok and on my YouTube channel. So follow me there. I'm going to try to figure out a day to go live consistently on TikTok. I'll keep you posted. They keep trying to push me to go live on TikTok. If you are not in the membership and you missed out on the opportunity to join, I do have you can buy my listing magnet class. Next month, I'll have another class available. I think I'm going to try to do this every other month. But if you have not invested in one of my courses, you can invest in the listing magnet class. The listing magnet class can also help you find leads for or opportunities for your buyers. Again, I'm Carrie Little. Thanks for watching over here on YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn. If you have questions, I want to know. DM me, tell me what